Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Fast Facts and Features with me, the brand ambassador for ethical flooring. And boy, Kevin, I'm hopped up on this topic these days.
All right, let's
How are
go.
you today?
I'm well. Yeah, I just finished some late lunch, had some fruit, and got some good fructose and glucose and things going on. So
Awesome,
let's
awesome.
let's see what's on the agenda for today.
Oh, well, as we're getting out and about and showrooms are opening up, and this is kind of a personal experience that I've had in this last couple of weeks. And it's driving me just a teeny tiny bit nuts because we're all about service at Ethical Flooring. And I want to talk about that shiny object syndrome that when a customer chooses to come into the store or showroom and you get that, hi, welcome, have a look around. And it just is so frustrating. And I want to see what your take on that whole situation when somebody, the protocol comes into your showroom.
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question, and everybody approaches that a little bit differently for sure. I was not by any means born into a natural born salesman, right? Like, it was, if you would have voted in elementary school, the least likely person to ever get into sales, I probably would have won that, like, hands down. So I always respected that. And, there's all these cliches about salespeople and attacking you and, hovering over you. And, I agreed with a lot of that. So, we want to, I always came forth with a very non-aggressive approach. So I would greet the client and I would ask them, right off the bat, do you want help? Do you want to talk to someone, or do you just want to get comfortable with your surroundings first, right? Like, just kind of entering. So when you open the door to a new business, you don't know, if you've never been before, you don't know what you're going to find, right? And some people, they need that a few minutes to just kind of get comfortable and settle down. And I always wanted to make people for sure feel comfortable if that's what they liked. But if they wanted to get into it right away and they're ready to talk, then, I was ready to listen and start with my polite version of 20 questions. And,
Yes.
it was, maybe some people would expect, well, you walk into a flooring store and I'm here to help you, so here's some flooring. But
right.
I would always start with, for me to do my job properly, I need to know a little bit about your lifestyle and about what you're looking for and a little bit about your home. I said, so please don't think I'm rude, but I'm just going to ask you a series of questions, and it's just going to help me build in my mind an understanding of who you are and what your needs are, and start building a profile of what the best product that I can suggest to you is.
It's so important because these days we all know, like today, the Bank of Canada has, put up the interest rate again, and the price of gas is really expensive, and time is so, if anything we've learned in this last 2.5 years, time currency, our time is so valuable here. And that, to me, there's certain stores, and your store being one of them in my mind's eye as a consumer, that when I choose to get in my car and spend the time, book it for the driving time and the time I'm going to spend in a home improvement, like an independent store. I'm not talking Home Depot, because you can go down the rabbit hole. It's like when you go onto Google and you start searching something. When you choose to come into a store like yours and like ours, that you expect that not just to be told to look around, because I would say it'd be frustrating because you carry some amazing, vast products that if I fell in love with something and then went, oh my gosh, if you told me, hey, Jeanette, go take a look around, and I fell in love with a certain product, and then you told me after you had your 20 questions after the fact, sorry, that's just not going to work for what you want to do, I would feel crushed and go, that was not good use of my time.
Yeah. And, that experience as I was a young man learning, the business and helping clients. Yeah, I made that mistake, right? Of letting people look and find things. And then in the end, we found it wasn't the right solution for them. So I ended up flipping that around on its head. And, we're not a seller of t-shirts or something, right? Oh, go look around, find what t-shirt you want, and I'm sure it'll be fine. Like, we're really set ourselves up as your specialty flooring source, right? Like, so people that come to us, they have a specific project in mind, and they have an idea in their head, and they have a color or a style or something. And yeah, we have a nice showroom, and we have a lot of beautiful product to look at. But I mean, it all comes down to, is it the right product for the situation? How is it going to be installed? Like, flooring is actually, as you know, is really difficult, and it's a specialty. And, you really, not every product is going to work for any situation, not even close. So that's where you need an expert advice to really listen to your needs and what you're looking for. Is it a long-term home? Is this a permanent forever home? Is this a home you plan to sell in a year? Do you have dogs? Do you have kids? Do you wear shoes on in the house? I mean, all of these things, we want to know up front before we even start to suggest options to you. And because you could spend an hour or 2 hours working with someone, they find the perfect product, and then, you live in a condominium. Sorry, you can't put that floor in, right? That's everybody's a waste of time. And like I said, as a young man, I definitely was there, and I went, oops, okay, don't do that again. So you want to get as much information as you can up front. And sometimes people, that's why I would always kind of make a joke or explain to them what I'm doing, like, hi, you just met me for 30 seconds and now I'm going to like ask all your personal details of your life. Right.
Right.
You can trust me. Yeah. So, but
yes.
I'd explain why I was doing that. And, in my mind, like I said, I'm building a schema or like a filter. So I'd explain to people, when you come into our store, there's, the whole store is available to you. Right. And my job as a sales consultant is to narrow that down into a handful of products that I'm going to then present to you, because it'd take 12 hours to go through every floor in the store, and that's not realistic. So my job is to knowing what I know and the products, and pairing together the right product with the right client, and then offering a reasonable number of products to choose from so people aren't overwhelmed. And for me, that would be a win at that point. People felt happy with the process. They felt that they were listened to, and that they were presented, good options for what their needs are.
I can, first of all, we want to reward our clients for doing their research. If anything, in this last, again, 2.5 years, everybody's been able to do the Google on, you'll find and fall in love with a product or post on one of the social media, and you kind of start digging into the product. And so let's reward our clients for doing some sort of research. However, I know that when I was a project manager, they would come in and say, well, I remember reading somewhere that I could have a 4.5-inch solid floor that I could glue down and it was going to be okay. Or they would say, well, what do you mean that the subfloor prep could be this amount? Well, I read somewhere that it was going to be 50 cents a square foot. And when you start unpacking, well, can we find out where you read that? And it was like a wood frame home that was, 50 years old versus, okay, and where's your project again? On the 50th floor of the Shaw Tower? Oh, okie dokie. So can we come back to your project and what your needs are? So like I said, we want to reward you for doing your homework and coming in, and, sometimes I found that they would test us, like, or, they would come in and they would say, well, this is what I learned. And it's almost like they were testing our knowledge before that trust was built.
Yeah, it's interesting, as I started selling flooring, the internet was around, but it was not certainly to the level it is now. And I've kind of watched that, progression. And I feel, you talk to some physicians, like family physicians and whatnot, and they've been kind of frustrated with people coming in. Well, I read on the internet that this is what I have, right? And I've kind of understood that now, because I've heard all sorts of crazy things that people come in and I read on the internet about this, about flooring. And I'm like, well, that's wrong. And again, it's a bit of a trust thing, because they don't know me from a hole in the wall, but I'm like, trust me, I've been doing this maybe in Wichita, USA, in that kind of home, maybe that's what it is, right? But in North Vancouver, BC in 2022, this is the reality on the ground of what we're doing, right? And this is what works in this community, and it's part of having experience. I mean, my family roots in North Van in terms of the flooring industry go back, it's 62 years now. So like a big part of North Van has been built up around I'm the third generation of my family that's doing flooring in North Van. So it's just a lot of deep knowledge that goes through. So it's, we're able to give you the best advice for here and for now. And there's levels up the chain in terms of problem solving and stuff that, at the end would end with me. I'd like to think I know a little bit about stuff by now. So there's not much we haven't run across, but if it is something new, we'll find out what the answer is. But yeah.
That's awesome. So I'm going to leave it here and say, I believe the shiny object in your store is your project managers. And let's leave it at that.
I love that.
Yes. And that's where coming into our showroom, you are going to find this shiny object in incredible help, knowledgeable staff. So they will make sure you get a solid foundation, whether it be a hardwood floor, carpet, laminate, LVT, vinyl. They will make sure that you will shine in your house. So let's leave it there.
I love our team. That's the best part of what we do here.
Okay, thank you, everybody. And now we'll tune in again next Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for another episode of Fast Facts and Features with me, the brand ambassador, Jeanette. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, Jeanette. Thanks.